Another tool that I want to spend some time talking about is Pory. Pory is very similar to Stacker in the sense that it allows you to create a front end for your Airtable data, and it also is very flexible in the portal that you can create where you can control access to the data. One thing that Pory is especially good at is creating a branded feel to what your portal is looking like. So it becomes especially useful for creating things like user directories or a customer portal or membership website where you really want your brand to shine. And that is very obvious when we look at what Pory can accomplish.
Thanks for investing in your own knowledge base. I'm Cherry Yang, the founder of Claribase. We're going to be releasing our flagship course, Airtable Mastery, for free. In the course, you can find over 100 videos on topics like design, integration, automations, and interfaces. It's perfect for the Airtable champion who wants to build their database right the first time. You can sign up for the course at the link down below.
Again, before we jump into some examples of what Pory can do and the different use cases, I did want to give an overview of what the pricing looks like for Pory and how much setting up a system in Pory might set you back. So as you can see, Pory has two main pricing tiers along with Enterprise, the first being Basic, and this allows you to create apps that are displaying information, but you're not going to be able to do any permissioning on this basic level. Then we also have a professional level, which is where you get to create apps that is powered by your data, but also has permissioning similar to what we discussed in Stacker. One really unique thing about Pory that I find quite useful is that you are actually able to start building in Pory for free. And then as you want to unlock some of the more custom features, such as permissioning or custom domain or labeling over your app, that's when they'll ask you to pass a paywall. So it's nice because you'll be able to get a sense for the app and what it can do for you before actually investing any money into it. Now that we've talked about the different pricing for Pory, I wanted to take some time and talk about individual use cases that you might want to use Pory for and some of the benefits that Pory could bring over a tool like Stacker or interfaces. I'll also take some time during this to jump into some examples built by Pory so that you can get a really good sense of what you can build with their tool. So as you can see on my screen, I thought it would be really useful to just pull up the use cases that Pory talks about when it comes to using their tool. So one of the first things that they've listed on their website is the idea of a management website. So this is everything that you might want to manage in terms of content or sharing or just really creating a community for people to enter. I think what's really cool about Pory is because it's so customizable and you can really bring in your brand, it lends itself really well for these kinds of membership websites because it feels very personal to the people using it and it doesn't really feel like it's coming out of a box where everything kind of looks the same. They also mentioned the idea of building a volunteer portal. This is something that we talked a little bit about in Stacker, and it is something that you can accomplish in Pory as well. It, again, lets you do a little bit more branding, and you can hide different relationships or events from certain people depending on what they've signed up for. But it is useful in the sense that it creates a portal that you can build. The other thing that Pory lists quite often is a customer portal. That is, again, something where you might want to include a lot of personal branding because it's representing your brand as a whole and your clients are going to be in it day in and day out. So if you were somebody who offered digital design, for example, you might want to have something that encompasses your brand just to that next level. Something that we use Pory for quite often in our organization for the clients that we serve is the idea of building a directory. Pory lends itself really well to building very beautiful directories, and you can think about those lists of employees that you often see on companies' websites. So this can be done with Pory and Stacker, and what's cool about that is that with you having employee records in the back end, you're able to put in a picture, in a description, and fill out those different fields that you'll want to keep on everybody. And you can then display it in a directory form directly on your website. And that means that your back end is controlling what is shown, that back end in Airtable. So when you have a new employee or you have turnover, you don't need to reach out to whoever manages your website or website developer to go ahead and remove that person or add someone new. So that can be a really cool use case. There's also a lot of really great search functionality and filtering available with the directories that you can build within Pory. So now I want to take a little bit of time to actually look at what some of these tools could look like as an external user jumping into it. So the first one I wanted to talk about was the Unicorn Club. So this is essentially a no-code community that the Pory founders have started. And I think they've done a really good job here with the branding of this community. It really feels personal when you move through it. There's a lot of great branding and it overall looks really clean. It looks like a professional website where they've paid a developer thousands of dollars and lots of time to build this for them, but in the end, they really just used the tool that they've built. You can see here that there's the option to log in to see the mentors page and be a part of their mentorship community, but there's also a really cool option to see different records in different ways, different communities and portfolios. And when I go into the event page, we can actually see a really beautiful example of what a directory could look like. So you can see it's very clean in the pictures that are being displayed and the way the cards look. And all of the data that you see displayed on this card is powered by a field in Airtable. So that's just a little bit about what a membership website or portal could look like. And then I also wanted to spend a little bit of time in the volunteer network demo. So this is an example of where you would have people sign in and you might be hiding specific data from different volunteers depending which events they sign up for. So just to give you an example of kind of that login experience, I am just going to log in to an account that I made for this demo and show you what it looks like for somebody coming to it anew. So you can see right when I log in, I get prompted to infill information on my profile. So that's really useful. You can kind of guide your users into filling in the data in the way that you want. I can update my settings. And then this is a very simple example, but I'm able to look at all the different events I might want to sign up for as a volunteer and also have the option of looking through a volunteer directory to see who else I might be working with, or if I want to get somebody with a certain skill to join one of the events that I've signed up for. So overall, I'd say Pory is really great for building customly branded tools. It's really beautiful in that sense, but it is a little bit more limited than Stacker in its permissionings and the different functions that you can take. But then again, on the other side of the coin, you get that branding. And I would say if you're between the two, I don't think one is more difficult or easier to set up than the other, but they have their different challenges and strengths. So you might spend a lot of time setting up permissioning in Stacker, but then on the other coin, when you're in Pory, you might spend a lot of time working on what your personal brand looks like. So it's really dependent on your organization's needs and what's important to you.